Hi, Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website by, for, and about baby boomers. Thanks for joining me tonight to talk about Dale Carnegie, of all people, and being content. Let's get started. If you like what you hear, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. And if not, please drop me a line as to what you'd like me to cover. So, Dale Carnegie, wow, he was born in 1888, wrote perhaps his most influential book in 1936, died about a year after I was born, and is still regularly quoted and referenced today insofar as interacting with other people. Right? His book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, has plenty of timeless advice. And it was interesting, I just came across a social media management program that had many stories referencing Dale Carnegie and his techniques. Perhaps one of the most succinct and well-known quotes is, if you want to be interesting, be interested, right? It's pretty simple. He's saying, pay genuine attention to others and they will think that you are interesting. It's kind of funny how the mind works, right? But at the core of it, being genuinely interested in others really does help you to form closer relationships, whether at work or in your personal life. And at this website, I just happened upon, so thank you very much for Product Hunt. Let me throw that up if you're interested in where this came from. So producthunt.com, that's a site of just new things related to technology primarily. And then clay.earth is the kind of social media, how to describe it, multi-mode media and email and various things glommed together so you can track messages across various things. But so this website had a number of stories about Dale Carnegie and being interested in others. And while they did mention it once, maybe a couple times in passing, I think it's worth revisiting the value of being genuinely interested in somebody, right? Listen, to banner down here. And so, asking someone how their day went and then half listening to the response while you're actually planning out your night, right? That kind of works for casual encounters, but not really. But if you genuinely listen, and it's not only much more powerful, but you may find yourself actually learning about a different way of life that you hadn't known or perhaps misunderstood. Maybe that logger or that oil driller really doesn't hate the earth and is just trying to get enough money to send their kids to a good school so the kids don't have to work as hard as they do. Or maybe your Uber driver really doesn't feel used and really enjoys the freedom and flexibility of gig jobs. Who knows what you might discover? But perhaps the best listening skill to develop is to listen non-judgmentally. Yeah, that one's really hard. When someone says something you find distasteful or at odds with your own viewpoints, just keep listening and ask follow-up questions to see where it is coming from. Because when you do that, you may very well find out that their basis has a very different point or foundation than what everyone said it was. And you might, gasp, actually start to understand a different perspective, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. And that, dear friends, is the basis of society and culture and true empathy. Remember, familiarity with something helps overcome the fear. There are plenty of commentators and news outlets who will merely tell you that they are thinking and what they mean. When you actually talk to them, you won't really know what they're thinking. And that leaves you open to manipulation by people with an agenda. But the really fun part comes when you, with all your newfound knowledge by actually listening to other people, then when you listen to what others say that group believes, suddenly you realize how much of it's just hearsay, presented either as news or truth or both. But that is really just the bonus, because the real treasure is that you're now learning about other people, their lives, their culture, and most importantly, how to actually listen to them and live together with them. So you might be wondering what all this has to do with our general theme of living a life of purpose and a life that you kind of define for yourself. Well, think about how often you're kind of dissatisfied with things, with life, whatever, because of what they are doing. It doesn't matter if they are a different political party, different viewpoint on a topic, different race, different whatever. Now think about how much better you might feel if you actually knew and discussed, not argued, but actually discussed some of the topics you and your friends, your new friends or your acquaintances didn't agree upon. A very good casual friend of mine and I think I've talked about him before, we are at absolute opposite ends of the political and viewpoint spectrum on pretty much every single topic in the world. It's actually kind of fun. And every time we get together, we get into these huge, deep discussions, which cause both of us to really work to defend our positions. It also causes both of us to learn a lot more about the other person's point of view. What's interesting is it usually comes down to just a few very fundamental differences that truly are open to interpretation. And otherwise, we're pretty much aligned to most of our core values. It's not because he and I are such special people. It's simply a matter of both of us wanting to learn. And we are, and it's genuinely, we're actually, it probably comes down to that we are genuinely interested in each other. We're going to say, we're good casual acquaintances. It's not like we hang out all the time, but we're really interested in what the other person thinks. And we really want to talk about it and really discuss it. So back to that self-satisfaction tie-in, at the end of every one of our conversations, we always part friends. We both understand the other person a little better, and we both understand ourselves a little better. And that's really important because as we age, there's always a ready chorus of voices in social media, in the news, sometimes even in person, who are willing to tell us how out of date or even out of touch we are in the modern world. Well, I hate to disappoint all those cutting edge social reformers, but it really isn't true. There really is a continuum of viewpoints across most any topic, and the views are almost never as binary and clear cut as the media outlets would have you believe. The good news is that by being interested in other people and making new friends and acquaintances, you get to see that spread of viewpoints firsthand, and you'll start to feel more comfortable with life overall. You will feel better because you won't feel as alone, and you will realize that everyone isn't as different as people like to portray, and because you will genuinely have more people in your life who you like to talk to and who want to talk to you. Like everything, it isn't the perfect answer to every situation, but there's some truth to that old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But this isn't to overcome them, but rather to learn about them and have them learn about you. So then hopefully you both won't be so fearful of each other and you can live a more peaceful life overall in better harmony, because at the end of it all, we really do have far more in common than we do in difference. Remember, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk. I heard that one a lot when I was a kid. But seriously, I would encourage you to try to be a more attentive listener. And, in all the little everyday social interactions that arise, ask somebody a question, then really listen to what they respond to you, and maybe ask them a follow-up question and try and get a little conversation going. Not a prying conversation, but just something to show that you're interested in them. They will be flattered that you're interested in them, and you might learn something that was something completely unexpected. A lot of the time may lead to nowhere, but many times you'll also meet fascinating people doing amazing things with complex points of view that would still be hidden from you if you hadn't taken a chance to listen to what they had to say. And you'll feel a little better about the world overall and your place in it. So that's it for the evening. Please remember the war in Ukraine still going on. Still have the site, and I think by now we may have added the link to the food agency. If not, it'll be up in a day or two. But it's just a page of places you can donate. Winter's coming in Ukraine. It's really bad situation overall. It's really a real war. If I know it's a little different in the news these days, and it's probably being downplayed a little bit, except when it makes for good sensational material. But they're just getting hammered all the time. There's basically no peace at all anywhere in the country. So keep those people in mind as the winter comes. If anyone's looking to make a donation, go to ukr7.com, and you'll find links to a lot of places with aid that form all sorts of different types of aids that's applying to Ukraine. Remember, one of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. If you can and you're able, please check out ukr7.com. As always, be true to yourself and live the life aligned with your true goals and feelings. Thanks for stopping by. If you found something interesting and useful, please pass it along and please hit that like button. And if not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week, and remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path of true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone, and see you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thanks.